This is a career podcast. You should tell us how to be successful in our career. I am telling you how to be successful in your career. Being successful in your career means your career cannot be your top priority all the time. Full stop. Now it can if you plan on never getting married and never having children and your career is your life and your baby. Great. Also, you're going to have copious amounts of identity dependence on your job and a lot of emotional connection, which is going to create a lot of issues for you in reactivity. But if you want to be successful long-term, you need to have no more than 3 main focuses for your life, and those will ebb and flow over. You can find balance in your top 3. You can't find balance in your top 10. Put that on a hat. Okay. Corporate life is a game, but no one hands you the rule book. Here on Secrets of the Career Game, we break down the unspoken norms and behind-the-scenes dynamics shaping your career today. I'm Kendall Berg, that career coach, and I guide professionals to grow, advance, and lead with clarity. Each week, we explore the tools, habits, and conversations that build confidence, presence, and long-term momentum. On today's episode, we are going to be covering a topic that is possibly my most requested. This is how to be a mom and find balance. And this is not going to be the episode that you hoped it would be. I'm going to be super candid about my own journey. We're going to talk about some of the pitfalls and struggles that women have in the workplace and finding balance. And if you are a dad and you just tuned in, stick with us. This is applicable to everyone who is trying to juggle all of the situations that come with being a parent, being in the workplace, and trying to have some semblance of a personal life outside of the two. And we are going to start with, frankly, the harsh reality, which is there is no such thing as balance. I don't know where this concept came up. I always envision the 2 justice scales that you learned about in school, and they're going to be perfectly balanced. You're going to have your work life. You're going to have this beautifully balanced personal life. And the reality is that that is not true. It's just not accurate. There will always be ebbs and flows. This is the same as in your relationship where one person will not always be giving the most and one person always taking. To have a healthy relationship, there must be balance. Some people give, some people take, then we trade, and there's a balance to be had there, right? And I know this isn't the answer that you guys are all looking for. What you're looking for is some kind of massive cheat code that nobody's ever taught you that will allow you to do everything you ever wanted with perfect balance and never feel stressed. But there is no cheat code, and there is no massive way that you can do something special and your life falls perfectly into place like a puzzle. What you need to do is understand what is most important to you. So the mistake that I see people make, and I'm gonna reference the boss woman era. We're all gonna be boss babes, which means we're going to be high-powered executives and super moms and a wonderful spouse. And we're going to be super fit, and we're going to be involved in our community, and you will be burnt out, and you will be tired. I am tired just listing the number of things that we are all trying to be at all times. So if you want to be successful, you need to understand what is important to you, and there should be no more than 3. I would argue there have been phases in my life where work did not even make the top 3. And I know you're listening to this and you're like, Kendall, this is a work podcast. This is a career podcast. You should tell us how to be successful in our career. I am telling you how to be successful in your career. Being successful in your career means your career cannot be your top priority all the time. Full stop. Now it can if you plan on never getting married and never having children and your career is your life and your baby. Great. Also, you're going to have copious amounts of identity dependence on your job and a lot of emotional connection, which is going to create a lot of issues for you in reactivity. There's a separate podcast on that. You should check it out. Okay. But if you want to be successful long-term, you need to have no more than 3 main focuses for your life, and those will ebb and flow over time. So examples include all of the things I said earlier. Progressing in your career could be an example of something that's a top priority. Maybe you need to for financial reasons or just because you want to and you deserve it. It may be a hobby that you have that's taking priority at the time. You want to do a high rocks or run a marathon or do a pageant or be involved in some type of competition, and that's going to take a key priority. Maybe you have young kids. Maybe you just got married. Maybe you have a friend who's going through a hard time and being a better friend is your top priority right now. Your priorities are going to change. They're going to ebb and flow. But if you're not sure what they are, you will not achieve them. And this is where I think we go wrong, is we think, well, everything is going to fall into place. I'm going to do all those things that Kendall just listed. I'm going to be super fit and super healthy and do a fitness competition. And I'm going to run my company and it's going to be great. And I'm going to have a corporate job. And all right. And I know some of you guys who have been here a while are listening to this and you're going, but Kendall, don't you do all those things? Okay. I do, but they're not all my priority. All right. For example, my top 3 priorities for 2026 is growing and scaling my business, being present and having quality time with my children, and being able to build scale so that my husband and I have more one-on-one quality time. That is it. That's it. That's it. All right. Now, there are parts of that involve like, hey, do I still work? Yes. Am I still focused on my health and fitness? Yes. Am I still focused on public speaking? Yes. But they're not in my top 3. And so they are things I do when time allows. Now, there was a time where health and fitness was my number 1 priority, right? Where I was at the gym every day, 4 a.m., non-negotiable, right? That might be you right now. That's great. It's not my number 1 today. If today I'm building my business, spending quality time with my kids and having one-on-one time with my husband and my time is up, I'm not going to the gym. I'm sorry. If you don't know what your top 3 are, you can't focus on the right things. Now, last year, pageant was one of my top 3. My hobby was one of my top 3. I wanted to win Mrs. Colorado. I wanted to go to nationals. I wanted to represent my state. It was really important to me, all right? I won Mrs. Colorado American, went to nationals. My roommate won nationals. It was awesome. It's not a priority for 2026. I did it. It's done. But as a result of that being in my top 3 last year, growing and scaling my business was not. That was a trade-off I made. It doesn't mean I didn't work on my business. Doesn't mean I didn't do a TED Talk. Doesn't mean I didn't publish my book. I did. But it wasn't my number 1 priority. So you have to understand what is important to you. If you start to focus importance on more than 3 things, your attention is going to be diluted, your success is going to be diluted, your achievement's going to be diluted, and you're going to be frustrated. So what you need to do instead is be really, really clear on what is the most important thing to you and focus on those, and everything else becomes secondary priority. It just does. And I know somebody's going to listen to this and go, well, I don't want my career to be one of my top 3, but my boss, but my role, but my company, but RTO. There is a difference between it commanding a portion of your time and being your primary focus.
You've listened on the podcast, you've followed along on socials, and yet you still feel like you struggle to implement many of the things that you know you need to do in order to get ahead in your career. That is where coaching comes into play. By joining my coaching program, you have 3 months of bi-weekly support with me where you're able to ask your hot seat questions, get coaching specific to your situation, have 24/7 support, and get access to all of my digital materials, including my courses, my templates, my networking and personal branding guides, and set yourself up for success. 70% of people who go through my coaching end up promoted in less than 6 months. So if you are ready to take control of your career, make sure you click the link in the show notes and get started today.
You can find balance in your top 3. You can't find balance in your top 10. Put that on a hat. Okay. The second thing that you need to do once you have your top 3 is you need to plan ahead. You need to plan ahead. Don't be reactive. Wait until something starts going wrong, until we start having a problem, until things are out of balance, until we're burnt out. Don't wait and then be shocked if things aren't going well. All right. I talked about this when I met with Lucy from the Lucy Space a couple of months ago about our finances. We talked about how to plan ahead, how to think strategically. The same is true of everything you're going to do in your life. All right. I've talked about it on that episode as well. But in 2026, one of the goals that I had is I was going to eat healthier. I was going to eat less processed food. It's not my top 3. Okay. It falls to the wayside in favor of the other 3, but it's something that was important to me. And I started planning my meals. So every Sunday I would sit down in the morning and I would say, okay, what are my breakfasts going to be all 7 days, lunch, dinner for my family? Some days lunch is a leftover from the night before. Some days it's something that I need to cook and I wanted to be prepared because my schedule then needs to accommodate all of those things so that I can do it. If I know my kids have sports on Tuesday, Tuesday needs to be a crock pot meal. I don't have time to work all day, take my kids to extracurriculars, come home, cook a meal, It's going to be 10 o'clock before we eat, okay? So those are crock pot days. So I need to plan ahead for that. So I started creating this plan and creating a shopping list that went with it. I have since moved to delivery because the grocery closest to me does free delivery, which the bomb, okay? They do delivery to my house. And then I plan ahead each day. What do I need to cook for tomorrow? Sundays, I cook things that like I need ahead of time, right? So if I'm going to eat a lot of bacon this week, bacon is something that I pre-cook in the oven. I pre-cook it, I put it in a little Ziploc baggie, I throw it in the fridge, I heat it piece by piece as I need it. I'm not going to cook bacon every morning. It takes forever. Okay. Things like that. But then that way I know what I'm going to eat. I'm not eating out as much. It's good for our financial health. It's good for our family. It's more convenient because I've planned ahead versus trying to go out and squeeze in a 2-hour meal somewhere or spend $40 on DoorDash. Okay. Shopping lists, meal prep. What does your schedule look like? One of the things that I released this year is your ideal daily schedule template. You can buy it at the link in my bio. We will put it in the show notes as well. But what that activity is planning what your week should look like to accommodate your top 3. Here's when I have to be at work, right? We start with what is non-negotiable. If you work a 9 to 5 in an office Monday through Friday, put it on there. You're not going to be able to do other things during that time, generally, okay? And then we layer in all of the things we want to do. Here's my kids' activities. Here's our wake up time, our go to bed time. Here's our, hobby time. Here's when we do quality time. Here's when I spend one-on-one time with my husband. Layer that in. Have a plan for what your weeks should look like. It doesn't mean it's going to look like that perfectly every week because, again, you will not find balance with all 10 things you do. But if you know your top 3, we can prioritize your schedule in a way where you're focusing on those. And other things may drop, but not the top 3. All right. It's the same with planning your exercise and your workouts. When I worked in office in my corporate job, I found a place that was an 8-minute drive from my office. And every day they had a 12 o'clock yoga class. And it was a 45-minute class, which was great because I could leave my desk at 11:50, drive to the yoga studio, do the 12 to 12:45 class, rinse off, get dressed, get back by 1, right? So I took an hour and 10-minute lunch, but I could fit in yoga 5 days a week. It was wonderful. If there's something like that, great, do it. If there's a gym really close to your office, maybe you start going into the office at 7:30 instead of 8 or 8:30 instead of 9, and you go straight to that gym and work out after before you go home. Again, find what works for your schedule. If you're a working mom, that may not be it for you. You may have to wake up at 4 a.m. if you want to work out. Cool. Then be realistic. Are you going to wake up at 4 a.m.? If you're not, don't plan to wake up at 4 a.m. and go work out. Find another time. Okay. So figure out what's going to work and plan ahead. The last system that I want you to put in place is your village. So if we flash back 100 years ago, there was so much more resourcing to support the average person, right? You had village communities. Everybody traded goods internally. You had most likely your parents living with you, or you lived with your parents. You had more support in people. Now, it was necessary, and there's a lot of other negatives that came with that time period, so we're not romanticizing it. But you had people around. Thinking you can do it all without resources is dumb. That's not going to work. What resources and people do you need in place? If you have young kids, do you need a nanny? Do you need daycare? If that daycare closes at 6, great. Then the aforementioned working out after work will fit in, right? Do you need a mother-in-law to come live with you? If you do you need a house and a space for your mother-in-law to live with you, or can they live nearby, right? Do you need a meal service, right? Hungry Root is one that I've seen a few times this year that seems to be pretty good. There's obviously all the regulars, HelloFresh, Freshly, all of these. Great, get a meal service. If you're not going to plan your meals for the week, have somebody else do it. Or there's a lot of local chef prep. So where I live, there's somebody you can hire. I looked into this last year, that's why I know, that you could hire to come to your house on Sundays. They meal prep all of your meals for you on Sundays. They pre-cook veggies, proteins, whatever. They leave it in your fridge, and you have like instructions on what to eat when. Great, do something like that. If you do not put people, resources, and systems in place before you need them, you're going to need them anyways, and you're going to have a problem, right? Cleaning services, laundry services, live-in help, nannies, daycare, people to help you. And somebody listening to this is going to go, Kendall, that all costs money. It might. And at some point, you need to decide, what are you willing to trade money for time? Where are those trade-offs reasonable for you? If cooking is not something you want to prioritize this year, then trade it for a little bit of money. Most in-home eating services are cheaper than going to the grocery store, getting all the ingredients and prepping it yourself. They're going to be less expensive. So if you don't want to invest in that, if that's not your time, if that's not something that's a priority for you, don't do it. Make your life easier, okay? The same is true of, childcare. All of these moms are like, yeah, well, my kid's school is only in from 9 until 3, which, by the way, separate conversation. Why? Why? Schools, we all work just to get after school care. I know it. Anyways, if your kid's only in school from 9 to 3, that's probably not going to work with your working schedule. So do you need somebody who comes and picks them up at 3? Do you need to have a conversation with your boss? Hey, I need some flexibility. I have to be able to pick up my kid at 3. I'm going to log back on and work from home for 2 hours once I get there, but I got to get my kid home safely. Can you carpool with people in the neighborhood? Can you alternate days? Hey, my coworker is a neighborhood off from me. They're going to pick up our kids from school Mondays and Wednesdays. I'm going to pick them up Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we're going to get our own kids on Fridays. Is there somebody in your neighborhood who works a similar type of job who you can trade off with? You have to build community and you have to build your village. Pretending you can do it by yourself is just going to burn you out and lead to failure. I'm sorry. I wish it wouldn't. I do. I wish you could do it all. I wish you could clone you. I would clone me, and one Kendall would lead the podcast, and one Kendall would write books, and one Kendall would take clients, one Kendall would have a corporate job, one Kendall would take care of kids, and I would nap and eat snacks. Okay? It's not feasible. You have to put people and resources in place. And many of you guys who listen to this podcast, you are corporate employees. All right. You're making a decent salary. Right? If you're not making a decent salary, sign up for coaching. Let's fix that. Separate combo. Okay. You should be earning a decent salary. And at some point, you have to decide, what are we willing to trade off? All right. A lot of people today, I think social media adds all this pressure. We're going to spend all our money on all these frivolous things that we want. We have to travel every quarter because Scott travels every quarter. We have to buy all these clothes because there's always something new on this influencer's podcast or on this influencer's Instagram, or we spend our money frivolously. And I saw a creator on TikTok said this. They said, I'm not poor broke. I'm poor spending. Like, I make enough, but I want to spend it. So I'm poor in the fact that all my money goes out, right? All of us have that to an extent. So again, if you have your top 3 priorities, can you prioritize some of your finances to support those? Right? If you want to spend more quality time with your family, can you outsource cooking and cleaning that takes away from your time with your family? If you want to spend more time eating healthy, can you outsource after school care so that you can go to the grocery store and get ingredients and make dinner for your family and then have something healthy ready? Right? Think of what your priorities are. And then where do you need to move around your finances and your time to prioritize those things? There is no perfect solution. And the CEO of PepsiCo was a woman for many years. She's done a lot of interviews. I'll see if I can find one. But in them, she always says, she's like, you think I was baking homemade cookies for my daughter's bake sale when I was a CEO? No. I was hiring the catering company that makes cookies for my company to bake cookies for my daughter's bake sale, and I was having them delivered to her school by somebody else. I did that because there's not enough time to be this super mom. And this is I'm going to complain for just a second. All these super moms you see on social media who have never yelled at their kids ever, who have endless patience, who invent games where they tie little balloons to their kids' feet and their kids kick the balloons and they're so happy. And they do arts and crafts all day. Like the Bluey parents, if you've ever seen the cartoon Bluey from Australia, the Bluey parents, we see them and we think, I'm not doing enough. I'm not present enough. I'm not active enough. I don't play with my kids enough. I don't do these things. Bluey's parents have jobs that we've never seen. Okay. They're never going to them, apparently. There's like 2 episodes where they actually work, which like good for them. But even if you're a stay-at-home mom, it's not reasonable to expect that you never lose your patience. It's not reasonable to expect that you play all day when your mental load is carrying so many other things. My mental load is carrying dishes and laundry and groceries and cooking and working out, being healthy and wanting to buy that shirt I saw on Instagram and working 9 hours. And then we're expected to be totally mentally free and be like, yeah, kiddos, let's spend some quality time together. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work that way. And the CEO talks about this, that like, you're so busy doing other things, you can't be 100% parent. And even if you weren't doing 100 other things, you can't be 100% parent. So have your goals, have your priorities, and then prioritize them and give yourself some damn grace. We're all hustling together. We're all struggling together. We're all not doing enough, quote unquote, together. Give yourself some grace, find some peace. And bonus points if you can find a hobby that allows you to actually relax. Thank you so much for coming to my TED Talk. If you liked today's episode, make sure that you leave us 5 stars. Any questions for me, put them in the comments below. Otherwise, happy Mother's Day. Thank you for tuning in. Come back next week for some more great content.